back so quickly. Sorry I scheduled it. I did a weird scheduling thing and I scheduled it for an hour from now, and I meant to do it now. I was like trying to do time zones in my head and I came back to the wrong time zone, so I apologize that. Welcome back, Fatheree. How are you?
I am fantastic. I am eagerly anticipating the second half of our Jonathan Frakes directed
Woohoo!
double feature.
I just want to say, for anyone following, for anyone following my tweet about Dolph Lundgren being in Star Trek First Contact, while it's not verified that it's not him, there's Larry Nemechek said if it was him, we'd know about it by now, 25 years later. So it's probably not him. It's probably an extra who had a chin and lips similar to Dolph Lundgren's, and somehow that became a rumor, and I espoused it. So I'll be correcting that after this stream. But I just like to put these things on record. So yeah, Starfleet Boy got it wrong. Do you ever do that, Father? You're pretty good with facts. You're pretty good at like verifying.
We all make mistakes.
Yeah, we do. It's true. We learned that from Jean-Luc Picard. That's one of, one of the lessons we learned here. Jill says rats. It's true. I know. We forgive you. Thank you. All right. So we got a couple of folks watching, so we'll go ahead and kick things off. We are watching Star Trek Picard Season 1, Episode 5, Stardust City Rag. So this is the second episode in a row directed by Jonathan Frakes this season. So let's check it out together. We'll count down from 5, and I'll say engage, and that's when you press play. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, engage. All right. Oh, sorry. I'm getting the Paramount logo. So hold on.
Oh, you ruined it.
Yeah, we're gonna
amateur rookie
we're
mistake.
gonna try again. All right,
Okay.
hold on. All right.
No big deal. No big deal. Everyone just pause, rewind, pause.
Yeah, pause, rewind, pause. All right, here we go. Rookie mistake. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, engage. All right, now we're really watching it.
Are you seeing the Daystrom Institute in the recap?
Yep. So we know that this episode has something to do with all this stuff.
With Girardi and Maddox and androids.
So she is saying that Maddox had a theory, and I guess his theory checked out about that neuro cloning thing that he does.
He was basically like saying like, oh, here's a way we could create super advanced androids that would be indistinguishable from humans. Then he disappears, and then all of a sudden these super advanced androids indistinguishable from humans pop up. So it's connect the dots. It would seem to indicate he is operating somewhere unknown out there in space. And of course, Rafi being really eager to get to Free Cloud. Those chickens come home to roost in this episode. We figure out why, or I guess we're shown why. Oh, and then of course our guest star beaming in from last week, 7 of 9. Really fun cliffhanger for the previous episode. I say last week. We just watched this a few minutes ago, so I don't know what I'm saying last week. I'm flashing back to when it originally aired. Speaking of flashing back to when it originally aired, the episode opens with a flashback like almost every Picard Season 1 episode.
Yeah, we beat Book of Boba Fett to that
the Seven
flashback
Domes.
thing.
The Seven Domes 13 years ago. Seven Domes, that sounds like something that would be like in the Star Wars universe to me. But
Or TOS, I feel like. They had weird things.
It's like the 7 Domes out there
So,
in the outer realm or whatever.
Here
But
we
yeah,
have
this was a shock that we open on Icheb right here, Star Trek Voyager character.
And
Totally
apparently
was not expecting to see.
Yeah, a lot of people were wondering if we're wondering why Manu, the original actor, didn't come to play him. But I think this actor looks like the I saw like some people showing, oh man, that's so gruesome. I saw it's so gross.
Taking out
So,
his boar guy.
yeah,
And
it's
then
like really that's like the most gruesome thing I think I've seen after the little thing that goes in your
that
ear.
line, "Where's your cortical node, buddy?"
Yeah,
He donated his cortical node to Seven of Nine in Voyager.
that's
So he
right.
doesn't have one. They're just like cutting into his head looking for something that's not even there. The cruelty of that doctor is like really intense.
Yeah.
It's not something that we typically see in Star Trek with the human characters, but they could have, I guess, used an alien there. But the original series had a bunch of like evil humans, a lot of like bad guy humans. So I think it's interesting to kind of show that again.
Did you like the character Icheb?
Yeah, he was a. They told a few good stories with him. I thought he was a good character for this because if they were going to kill someone, it needed to be someone that was likable, that audiences would actually care about if they died, but didn't need to be someone so essential to the franchise that like it would be like too devastating. So I thought Icheb actually fit that niche very well, and then Seven having to go through this that totally explains her motivations later in the episode. I'm also someone like I was very close to my mom, and losing her like really impacted my life. And but even before that, I was always a big fan of stories about mothers and sons. Spock and Amanda, for example, has always resonated strongly with me. And
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, that opening definitely like just really grabbed me and
It hits
sucked me into
hard.
the episode. Yeah.
On Voyager, and again, sorry, audience, I'm not fluent on Voyager, but on Voyager, does she have that like mother son relationship? Is that like overt or is it suggested?
It's it's very much there. It's a little
Mm.
underplayed. It's a little bit more subtle because Seven was a more subtle person then. Um, but
Hello
yeah,
again,
they clearly
Ulysses.
have that. They clearly have that bond, and
Right.
they are family. When she says here, he's the closest thing I ever have to kin. Yeah, like
That's
they're
true.
surrogate son and mother by the end of that show.
So two recastings in one episode. We
Yeah, then
got
we
a recasting of the Egypt character and also Bruce Maddox. We see
yeah, I
Bruce
was like,
Maddox
oh
again, and
wow, they're
yeah,
actually gonna have Bruce Maddox.
yeah,
The thing I noticed, like Icheb might have been a different actor, but Bruce Maddox, I was like, oh, maybe that's just what that dude looks like with a beard.
yeah. It's true. There is a good resemblance with Egypt. Also, like I imagine, we all look. Not all of us. Many of us look different as adults. So Egypt was a kid on Voyager, so it didn't bother me
Yeah,
personally that
and
the
he was also
actor
played
didn't.
by a guy who's an asshole, so I
Yeah,
don't blame them
exactly.
for
So
not
yeah, it didn't
hiring
bother
him.
me
I
exactly
like they're
that
drinking
he.
Tranya, a little carbamite maneuver
Yep.
reference, a little nod to the original series. I mean, they have Tranya on DS9 too, and other, but I mean, it
We
originated in
were
the carbamite maneuver.
we weren't ceremonious about Bejazel's appearance, but I will say a lot of people, including myself, pointed this out, and I think it's
She
uncanny
looks
how
like a
much she
Next
looks like.
Generation
Yeah,
character. She
and
looks like
also,
when Next Generation tried to do like a CD bar, they would have people dressed like
but
this.
don't you think she also bears a crazy resemblance to Marina Sirtis? Uh, in that I could see her playing like Troy's sister, like a cousin,
Yeah,
someone,
I'd
a
buy it. I'd
relative.
believe
Like
it.
yeah, it's like crazy. So yeah, or like a like a Kelvin Troy, since they recast everyone anyway. So
No, Kelvin Troy would go with someone like younger. That's part of the Kelvin universe. Is you get them like younger in their life also.
yeah, it's true.
So they need someone in their. It looks like they're in their 20s, but
I also like the Beta Antarian character that they introduced, the Mr.
yeah.
Vup. He's pretty cool.
If you watch the Blu-ray special features, Akiva Goldsman said that they always were going to have this character Bjayzl, and they originally wanted them to be Acacian. They dropped that, but the name that they were using when they were breaking the story was was it Big Jim Slim or something like that, like from a Kentucky Fried Movie. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
A very long time
But
ago.
Kirsten Beyer actually just combined those letters and made Bjayzl a name. That's where that came from.
Oh, okay.
It's funny, like watching that opening. I remember the first night watching this 2 years ago, and I saw that opening, and I turned to Antonia and I said, "Watch, this episode was written by Kirsten Beyer," and I was right. Speaking of her, that's her name in the as the supervising producer, but her name comes up again in the credits as the writer. But yeah, she is the one who like wrote the Voyager novels and really like leans into like a lot of the canon and continuity stuff. In Disco season 1, they called her the keeper of the canon, and she was pretty influential in this creation of the Picard show. So, well, we get a lot of exposition there, don't we? Maddox had gone into space to continue his work and had gotten a loan from Bejazel. Now he's in trouble, and she betrays him. She's going to try to sell him to the Tal Shiar.
Mm-hmm. Blue in the audience says, I loved Icheb a lot as a kid. It was heartbreaking to see him die that way. Yeah, you know what felt like that for me, Blue? Hugh. Picard is a hard hitter. A hard hitter.
That's one of my complaints of the show. Is like they do that same trick a bit too much. So I'd like them to back away from that. Like don't kill Guinan and Q.
Yeah, please. Oh gosh.
I mean, I'm okay with how these deaths are done in the show, but it's like it's starting to get derivative, and I hate when things are derivative.
I don't think we'll see this quite again. Hopefully
it's
not.
Such a 7 of 9 line.
What did she just say?
Functional.
Oh yeah.
But then she's very uncharacteristically 7 of 9, or at least the 7 that we saw in Voyager when she asked for bourbon. 7
By the way, I'm drinking a bourbon right now. Cheers.
She 7 on Voyager, like if she had just a little bit of alcohol, she'd be like falling over drunk. It was one of the side effects of her Borg implants.
So this might be like another showing how hard she's gotten over the years.
Yeah.
She can actually take a drink now.
Yeah. No, it's totally there.
Jerry Ryan is still gorgeous. Not that kind of thing matters, but I just want to point it out that personally I think she's a beautiful woman.
I doubt that she minds any of us saying that, and it is true. So we would be very dishonest if we said anything else.
Yeah, speaking of absolute candor.
Yeah, for sure.
It was a nice conversation. So these icons of
and
Star
they know
Trek,
each other. They have had a history, and I like that the ex Borgs have gotten to know each other.
Mm-hmm. What law?
There's a
I
comic. What's the name of it? And I didn't think the comic was that good. Let me look up the IDW did. Hold on. Written, you're going to be surprised when I tell you who wrote it, but
this is a cool moment where she's talking about it also gives us a state of the Federation. Like, you know, there are these areas that have where the Federation's reach is not strong, or the influence, if you will, and they're lawless, and you need like cowboys or cowgirls, I should say, or cow people. Just like more vigilantes, I guess. It's a place where you get vigilantism happening, and so
I'm trying to find the name of the comic, but I think it was actually written by Terry Matalas, and it's 7 of 9 and Picard teamed up fighting the Borg. Takes place after Nemesis.
Hey Ruben, shout out to you. I just saw your tweet, your comment. Also, Ulysses says 7 in One Small Step was a great episode. I cried when she softly whispered to the casket, Yankees in 7 games. Yankees in 7 games. Oh, I don't know that. Which episode is that? One Small Step. I gotta check that out.
That's the Mission to Mars one, isn't it? Yeah, it had to do with astronauts going to Mars.
We might see that in our.
I don't think you've gotten to it yet.
No, I don't think so either.
I'll look it up in just a second. Here, this is very like
Season
much
6,
in Lower Decks, where like people have heard of people know like all the characters that we know. Like people have heard all about Voyager and the Borg they brought back from the Delta Quadrant. People know that big famous Admiral Picard at one point he was a Borg.
Yeah, this is Rios pointing that out right now. I like this little spilling the tea and Rafi's actually having some tea.
Okay, so I got it. It was called Star Trek: The Next Generation Hive, written by Brandon Braga and Terry Matalas, and it was a mini series about 7 of 9 and Picard and the Borg.
Interesting.
And I didn't think it was very good, to be honest, but
This is pretty funny to me that Maddox would replicate every element of cookies just to like bake them.
I just assume that's what people are doing when they're cooking on Star Trek more often than not. Unless they like picked up, like some fresh eggs when they were on leave at the starbase or something. They're just
Yeah.
replicating the ingredients and then cooking them. Speaking of Seven, we see her and Jacote cutting up food and cooking it. In
Ulysses, even though I
Voyager.
haven't seen after season 5, I know generally what happens in Voyager, so don't worry about spoilers. And I'm typically not affected by spoilers of stuff that's older. Like, where I avoid spoilers is like newer stuff, but I do appreciate your non-spoiler mentality because we all can be more careful about
So
spoiling stuff.
one small step is season 6, episode 8.
Another great example of Jeff Russo's music, this little whimsical thing.
I love the build up to Free Cloud. How like
Hmm.
when it's first mentioned back in The End is the Beginning in episode 3, Raffi is getting the adware
Yeah.
on her interface, and then here like there's like targeted uh, advertising to all of them. Like
I like how
it must
I
be like
like
looking their like cookies or like their browser
it's
history
true.
or something, then
Yeah.
targeting them with advertising.
Jean-Luc's is like high tea at like at a fancy hotel, which I think is
Yeah.
hilarious.
The ship captain gets an ad for ship repairs.
Yeah.
The tea drinking sophisticated European gets the invite to go to the fancy tea cafe. The drug addict gets gets hit up by
Right
this
here, yeah.
stoner dude.
Stoner Orion
Yeah,
caricature,
like
I think. It was interesting.
come
Also,
to
we got a
come
red
to our
bullion.
opium den.
Yeah, it's like, it seems okay. To be fair, it seems more like a fun place, like in Amsterdam. You have coffee shops, but yeah, you're right.
Oh, this place seems terrible. This seems like the planet like capitalism like run amok. Just like this is like the
Well, that's why there's a Quarks bar there.
this is where like all the crypto bros would want to like go to start like their own libertarian
Oh my
colony or
gosh, you're
something.
actually right. Why is that? So can we assume Raffi's son's an a-hole if he's living on Free Cloud? Like,
Yeah,
is that, like... Is he a crypto bro? Man, that would be disappointing. I would be so sad. Mm. The way she says Bejazel, like no one suspected she was gonna like murder her. Like, no, I'm just teasing. uh, I also want to put out Elnor was like, I didn't get one, so he has no cookies. So that makes sense, actually. That tracks with what you were saying, Fatheree. Ulysses is letting you know, Fatheree, that Phil Morris has a long history with Star Trek, going back to one
Yes,
of
he
the
does.
kids in Miri.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Phil Morris. He's a great dude. He does a lot of voice work with a lot of DC adaptation stuff. And he got to be in Star Trek in One Small Step.
So here's our look at Free Cloud. I like
It
this
is
shot
kind
a
of a
lot.
strange coincidence that they're looking for Bruce Maddox and they just happen to run into Seven of Nine, and now they can use Seven of Nine to get access to Bruce Maddox. It's like that's all kind of convenient, but
Yeah, it's true. And
Mr. Mott and Quark spar both in
both
the
there, yeah.
on screen.
I love that Mr. Motts is like a chain as well.
Yeah, and Quark actually gets a name drop in dialogue in a moment.
Yeah. What are facers again?
They're
like
like
people
brokers. They're like
brokers.
they go and like make the arrangements for the meetings for the
Oh,
negotiations.
okay.
Kind of makes sense that there would be like the go between the middleman arranging all these clandestine illegal under the table interactions.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they would actually have like this whole like culture of being like these big flamboyant people, but I'll roll with it. It's fun in the execution of it, at least.
Yeah.
Seven saying you need a feather in your hat. Cut to like a literal huge, very very audacious
I
feather
like how
in his hat.
versatile that pianist is. She can do like techno, bass music
Oh yeah,
as
I
well
didn't
as
think of
like
that.
classical jazz.
I
Like
mean, it kind
she's
of looks like she's
like
just sitting there, but
she's
that's how
bouncing.
skilled she is. She's
Yeah.
making it look seamless.
I would have loved it if she actually converted to being a DJ.
The over the top and flamboyance of two umbrellas.
Yeah. Um, Ulysses points out his sister was also in Mary and in the Voyager episode Workforce. And then Jill saying Elnor is perfect delivering his lines here. Oh, yeah, the
Ulysses, I didn't know about
Argua
Phil Morris's
Diente.
sister, so thank you for telling us. Um, this is more of like that editing they did in like the CSI Romulus scene where they're
Right.
non-linearly cutting. That stuff is so hard. That stuff is so hard to write and then edit. That's really
I think
impressive.
nowadays you're able to do a lot of previs easier, but yeah, it's still hard. Like to write for sure, but to make it come together, I bet there's a lot of finessing done later.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell if it works or not until you're in the editing bay,
Exactly.
and then at that point it's too late to make changes. So it injects so much energy into a scene though when you're able to convey all that different information. And
Yeah.
it's seamless. You don't really notice the trick of what they're doing. Do you think
Vup's voice
Mr.
sounds
Vup
like
should have been a
software.
Gorn? What if they had just made him a
I
Gorn?
would have loved it, but Gorns
They're hard
Gorns
to
are
do.
harder. They're harder to do because of the like mouth movements and
I
stuff
think
like
the
that. I
way to
think
do it would be you put a guy in a costume like the original series, and then CGI enhance it to have like a little bit more movement.
movement. Yeah, I
That
agree.
that might be what they do. I hope they do a Gorn and Prodigy. They got to at some point, right?
See, there you could do it like a lot easier. I feel
Yeah, because
like.
everyone's going to be a digital effect in that show.
Yeah,
So, the only
these are
time
interesting
we've
looking
seen the
guns.
Gorn since Arena is Lower Decks. Oh, and
Dang.
the animated series. The animated
Yeah.
series.
Ruffy's home cooking, that kind of bothers me a little bit. Like, what the hell's in there?
Well, he does seem a little euphoric when it kicks
Yeah,
in.
here.
So, uh,
He's like, he's so
kind of
stoned right
overplays
there.
that. Santiago Cabrera is a really good actor.
Yeah.
I really like. I hope we get to see more of Rios in season 2 because I feel like he might be a little underutilized thus far in the show. So I hope they find some stuff for him to do.
He's
He's pretty
like,
prominent in the
I,
trailers, I
I
guess.
actually think he's overutilized because he has to play all these, not in a bad way. I think he's utilized, but in a way that doesn't enhance Rios necessarily, but we get like a
But
ton
you
of
see
other
Santiago
characters.
Cabrera's. Yes, they did that with
Yeah.
Brent Spiner all the time. There
Yeah.
was all these other Datas. He played Data, and he also played Lore, and then he also played Soong. Then he also played Data going crazy and thinking he's a cowboy on the holodeck.
Jill says, Ansel Wetawatics. Ulysses wants to know, do you think they will reveal more about Guinan and Q's story? I think we might not see them together on screen, but who knows? I hope we get more on it. And then I'm planning to give Picard another chance. I'm excited for it in season 2. Yay, I'm glad you're going to give Picard another chance. And I'm glad you're watching this with us. Thank you for being in our chat. It's fun. This is a nice little moment between Rafi and Seven also.
I love these first 7 episodes of Picard so much. I don't think the last 3 of the season quite live up to the first 7, but I mean this is to me like this is like one of my favorite like 7 episode streaks in all of Star Trek.
When you think of it, that's so funny.
Yeah, Eleanor's naivete when he doesn't. He's just now figuring out the concept of like going undercover, pretending to be someone else.
Look at like he's growling at Elnor. He can't sense lies from Elnor because he's absolutely candor. I love that.
Not really sure
This
what
is
aguardiente is.
aguardiente.
I've never
We have it here.
drank
It's like
that.
it's a spirit, but I don't remember what it's based on.
It's like really strong though, right?
Yeah, it's really strong.
Like much stronger than say tequila.
I call this character the Hermit of Labar.
I like the evil French pirate Picard.
Yes.
And they let Patrick Stewart do his French accent.
It's such a bad accent. It's good, but it's bad.
It's better than I could do.
I am the Hermit of Labar. Ulysses and Pagan says I'm Data also had multiple personalities in the
Yeah,
horrible episode
I almost
Mask.
mentioned that. I felt like I was getting a little rambly at that point, but that was gonna be the next thing I was gonna bring up was masks.
I just want to say that I love Mask, but it's more for sentimental reasons. I have to look at it and evaluate it critically, but I feel like I like that episode a lot. I I like that little exchange
Adults.
between Rios and Seven, like him letting her know he's ready, but no one was expecting her to do what she does.
Yeah, Seven is playing all of them.
Hmm.
But I get why she's doing it because like, oh yeah, like this person betrayed me
Yep.
and is responsible for my son's death.
Make sure the kid sticks to the script. This is cute.
Yeah, Eleanor, don't say anything. Jill was laughing at that, but yeah, I thought that cracked me up too. But I like that they shine a light on that. That they're like, oh yeah, this guy. They just spent this whole episode last week explaining this absolute candor philosophy. This guy's not going to be able to go undercover, and then they explain it like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
Eleanor, just be yourself. Just don't say anything.
I like that she almost says "I love you" here, and then she does say it later.
They think this is going to be goodbye, right?
Yeah,
They think this is going to be the end of their time together on La Serena.
she was hoping this went a whole different way than it actually went down. And look at the little pointy ears on that little baby. Did you see? I just
Yeah.
noticed that for the first time.
So in Enterprise, they make a big deal about how, like, for a human and Vulcan to reproduce, like, you kind of need some medical
Aid,
assistance to make it possible.
which
And
this
they
is
explain
backing
like,
up.
what would happen, kind of foreshadow what would happen with Spock and Sarek and Amanda. But I guess here that's probably why they're having to go to this specific doctor on Free Cloud and get like a maybe like it's harder to find someone who can provide those medical services to help maintain a Romulan human pregnancy.
What did you think of the character of Gabe?
Um, he's not on screen long enough for me to really get too much of a read on him, but I don't know. Maybe they'll follow this up.
Yeah, I hope they
It
do. I
doesn't.
want
It
to
doesn't
see
seem to
it
have much
resolved.
consequence, does it? Like they don't. This kind of just it gets Rafi to stay on La Serena when she's faced with like not having her son, not having family. I know a lot of people relate to this. If you've had parents who suffered from addiction, there's a lot of complicated feelings that I've heard people express to me that.
I think one of the things that fell apart a little was this storyline because probably they just had a lot to cover, and maybe this like didn't read. But I also think for me personally, why it didn't work for me is just like you, Father, I'm very close to my mom, so it's hard for me to ever see myself relating to this position of like hating my mom so much that I'm like, don't come near me and stuff like that. So I don't
Yeah,
know if
but
it
you probably
resonates.
also like don't know what it's like to have like a drug addict
A drug addict
mom.
mom,
So
yeah, or something like that. But
I
the
hope
other thing is,
I hope
I
you
don't
don't.
think the drug addiction thing. Um, I like this where she's like, listen, I know
Yeah,
it
she's like,
sounded crazy,
God.
but
Oh,
it's yeah, but
he's
it's
like,
not
God damn it,
that.
your
Yeah,
mom. You're still like this weird 9/11 truther.
yeah, yeah, it's true.
You fried your brain on snake leaf, and now you believe all this weird conspiracy theory shit.
I felt for that she was addicted and like a little too reliant on Snake Leaf. I just didn't see her shaking it off. I didn't see her struggling with shaking it off enough before this point where she tells him, "I'm clean now." Like, you know what I mean? That's the part where, but I think
Yeah,
that's
she's
her
like, I've
being
been clean for
hopeful.
like a whole week.
Yeah, like, yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's
there's
just
like her. She wasn't expecting, a ride to Free Cloud. This is her
right.
one shot.
One chance,
It's
yeah.
like her. She probably sees this as like her final opportunity to make amends with her son, to be a part of this family. To get to meet her granddaughter someday.
Yeah. Jill says he's actually crushing the appearance of someone bristling with anger at his mom. So yeah, kudos to the actor.
I feel like there was like a story with the casting, like he's someone's son, like a Star Trek actor's relative or something.
Oh,
Maybe.
really?
Yeah. What was the deal there?
I don't know. I didn't know about that.
It's crazy that Picard season 1 was 2 years ago.
I know. Yeah, it'd be nice to see a follow up. I do want to see more. I want to see Rafi get like
Yeah.
a nice reward because she's suffered a lot.
Yeah. Maybe they'll wrap that up. A future season of the show.
I just
No.
the way he like reveals seven.
Yeah, he's a bit of a over. Picard is a bit of an overactor, just like Kirk was a bit of an overactor. When Kirk is like screaming Khan to
Yeah.
trick Khan.
So now we are getting
The reveal, like Picard is caught off guard. He's like, "Oh my
yeah.
God, Bjayzl, 7 of 9, they know each other. 7, why didn't you tell me? What are you doing here? This wasn't part of the plan. What's going on?" And the reveal of there being a some romantic history between Bjayzl and
Yeah.
7.
And to like further hammer in Bjayzl's like wickedness, she was pretending to be the person trying to save the
Yeah,
ex-Borgs
Seven
to
of
find out
Nine,
where they were. Yeah.
who already has like probably a whole bunch of issues about
Trust issues,
I was
yeah.
separated from my Borg family. I had like this other family on Voyager, but we got back home, so now that family broke up. Everyone is kind of prejudice against me because everyone's terrified of the Borg. Here's someone that I am close to, and then oh my God, they use me to go murder my son.
Yeah.
Like that's heavy. That's heavy hitting.
People don't like our protagonist being murderous. I don't know how I feel, but I actually feel very satisfied that Bjayzl gets murdered. Like as far as the story is concerned, it's like very satisfying to me. I think she's wicked, like to the core. I don't think there's any coming back from it. She even taunts Seven here. Like right now, like who says that? Like, are you still angry that I carved up your friend? Like she should be apologizing or feeling bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she's a pretty despicable,
She's
vile
pretty
person,
despicable. Yeah.
which Star Trek doesn't tend to do. Star Trek tends to have like more nuanced villains. Like
Yeah,
even
or a
someone
kernel of good in them. Yeah.
even someone even despicable as like Gul Dukat, you can still kind of see some shred of humanity in him, or at least uh, not really any sympathy, but there's like a little bit of empathy where you can kind of understand him.
Yeah.
But Bjayzl doesn't have that. She's which I think is a little unfortunate, but the way that they play the story of Seven, they acknowledge that like yeah, that is kind of a betrayal of traditional Star Trek values. Like it's not what a Starfleet character would do. She's not a Starfleet character. She's in this lawless part of the galaxy. It shows kind of the fallout of what's happened
She's been doing it for years.
post the Romulan Nova. Yeah, there's this whole Fenris Ranger things. Like the only law is the law that they enforce, and then the motivation they gave her. It's the exact thing you need to do for to get her to want to murder someone in cold
Yeah.
blood like that.
I was laughing at Elnor's line.
Yeah, no, that's great. Are we still pretending? Yeah, he doesn't get it. It's all very. It's all just so alien to him.
Ulysses is saying, I've heard that Stewart wasn't happy with Picard season 1, but I never got details on why. Can either of you expand on what he wasn't happy? My understanding is he was super involved in how
I've
the
never
story.
heard.
Yeah,
This is the first time I've heard of that.
yeah. But my understanding is that like he came back to Picard with a bunch of just ideas and contingencies, so that I felt like there was a lot of his
He
suggestions
was very involved.
in
He
it.
was in the
Yeah,
writers' room when they were breaking the
when they were
season.
breaking the season. Yeah.
It's fascinating hearing him describe that process because he was, he's not used to that. So him seeing it for the first time, he said he couldn't believe how like these writers would come up with all like these wonderful ideas, and then they'd be like, "Oh, well, that actually doesn't work because of this," and they'd throw it out the window, and he'd be like, "Oh my god, well, that was like really good." But yeah, that's part of it.
Part of it, yeah.
Yeah, it must have been interesting as an actor to get to see the how the sausage is made when it comes to the scripts.
Nice analogy. Is Seven's metal hand strong enough to break Bejazel's windpipe? Probably, but she could also
Probably, yeah.
probably like control it so that it's like different. A second mention of Diamanta. I love all the like you have these
Oh
like
yeah,
places.
yeah. The space pirate had been that was part of his territory. He was
Mm-hmm.
terrorizing in his bird of prey, Kantar.
Mm-hmm.
It is weird we don't see Kantar. They just mention him, but that does
Yeah.
kind of make it feel like a little. I guess that's how like nautical confrontations actually are. You just see the ship and not the person. I mean, normally in Star Trek you'd have them pop up on the view screen, but
They do this flashback just to make sure we remember. Like- um,
yeah, it's so brutal.
anyone in the audience? I think Blue was mentioning earlier he loved Icheb. Anyone else here also loved Icheb? And what would you do? Murder's not justice, but they don't take Bejazel with them back to the Lost Arena. I would have taken her and put her in the brig.
But they're in like this lawless territory.
Yeah, it's
Like
true.
she's wanted by the Fenris Rangers. I feel like there's like a death warrant out for her at this point. So
Probably.
7 of 9 is just doing what's within her prerogative as a Fenris Ranger.
Rios'
Rios
reasoning,
reasoning with her,
yeah.
like
And
those
he's
seven is
right.
like, okay, I'll at least let all of y'all get out of here, but then I'm gonna come back and kill all these people.
That's nice too. He knows he's such a good leader. I love him as captain. Jill says, I love Seven even more when Icheb joined. She was devoted to him and looking out for him. I gotta wait. I've been looking forward to meeting Icheb. Everyone says I would like that character. Aggie. Too bad Bruce is Bruce is gonna be disappointed in just a minute. Aggie's not happy to see you.
Rewatching this episode, it's really good seeing those scenes of Girardi just with all of the anxiety, pacing around on the ship alone,
Yeah.
which is the holograms. Like, she's knowing what she's about to do.
It gives you the impression she's trying to fight it too, which is good.
I don't know if she's trying to fight it, but just like she's struggling with,
With
coming
it.
to terms with it. Like, yeah, it's not something that a mentally healthy person would be able to easily accept.
Ulysses says the cat suit was okay, but damn, Seven looked the hottest in Voyager episode Relativity in that blue science uniform. I'm a huge fan of the science uniform too. I think everyone looks the sexiest in the not just science uniforms, but just the Starfleet uniforms. I love her outfit here. Her Ranger outfit is pretty badass. I think it was Paul Sutherland who pointed out how many like there's a lot of sweaters in Star Trek Picard season 1, and I was like, well, it's very cold in outer space. It makes sense that there be a lot of people wearing
I'm not
sweaters.
really a sweater person, but I like wearing like jackets and coats and
Yeah, I
stuff
love
like that.
jackets. I'm a sweater and jacket person.
You live in
This is
Miami,
nice.
Florida.
This is Jill's favorite part. Every damn
The
day, and then
the
they do the cool swell
yeah,
with
the
the Voyager
Voyager
theme.
theme.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like that's kind of what it's like living with PTSD, I guess. Every day is something that you have to
I love how
To look
everyone
at
just
it. But
beams out. Like they all have personal transporters, so they're like,
it does
bye.
bother me that it's all the same transporter effect as La
Yes.
Serena. I guess this is like really common transporter tech to use in this era, but it's all the exact same effect. That bugs me.
But Jazel's trying her best to buy time, but I think she knows her time is up. I like the actress really looks like she's facing her last moments here. She has this like she's gauging her options when she turned around there and she's not finding anything.
Mm, what a
That's
snake!
yeah. I love that. I didn't want to disillusion him. I hope Seven finds her hope. I think she does by the end of the series. This episode. I mean this sorry, season. By the way, is this like one of the first examples of a disintegration we see since? Whoa, bye. There she goes.
Yeah, at one point in like the 90s, they stopped doing disintegrations on Star Trek, and then they finally brought them back. Discovery season 1 was just disintegrating all over the place.
It's true. But disintegration used to just be like you'd fade out or like no, there's the Klingon disruptor has pretty like painful looking
Yeah, and then there's
disintegrations.
that
It's true.
insanely horrific looking one in Next Generation with the guy like the mute who had to negotiate.
Oh yeah. Yes, you see their skulls before they
Yeah,
get like their skin disintegrates. It's a Riva,
yeah,
Riva.
the
Yeah.
Riva episode.
So here we get more information. So Bruce reveals that he created Soji and Daj to find out more information about the synth ban because he feels like there's a big conspiracy, and the Federation's in cat boots with the Romulans. That's by the way, I'm saying cat boots for cahoots from now on. Just the thing I'm doing.
That's fine. That's not even the weirdest pronunciation that you do. So
I like the
so
rest of the La Serena is like pretty dark, but sickbay is white. It makes sense. The walls are white and bright.
important exposition dump here, but it's very watchable because like we're wanting to learn all this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
just as Picard is.
And also finally a destination.
So
The artifact
we now know why Daj and Soji were where they are.
created and why yeah where they are.
Even when those characters themselves didn't know why they were where they were.
I always wondered if there was a failsafe in Daj that made her seek out Jean-Luc, that Maddox put in, but now I see that it's just that's the data in her
That was
DNA.
the data in her, yeah.
Yeah, so that's where that was coming from. It makes sense that like they would create these advanced androids if they're using this like fractal cloning thing that like there would be a little bit of data
They
sneak in.
they had to show us that scene earlier of Girardi, replaying the home movie of her having the pleasant times with Maddox. Let us know like, oh my God, they were close, they were in love, and that makes like this impact even more shocking of what happens at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And then this our stowaway,
Yeah.
Rios knew that Rafi had snuck back in here. She doesn't want to talk. I guess we see her like having like a bit of a, she was just saying how like she was gonna be clean, but here like she relapses hard
She
in the next
relapses,
episode.
yeah.
But
I
then
like that he
this
calls him Hefe too. This is sad.
this was just for me it was so shocking, and it was so enticing. It made me think, oh my god, what the hell does Girardi know that's driving her to do this?
Yeah,
It is
same
also a
here.
little nervous. Like, is it actually going to be something that has like the big enough payoff? And we can debate if it does or not when we get to it.
Get
But
there, yeah.
this was just like really kept me on the edge of my seat and made me so keen to watch the next episode and stay on the ride, stay on the journey of the show.
Same here. And I was horrified because I really liked Girardi, and so when she did this, I was like, "Oh my god, she just
Yeah.
murdered Bruce Maddox! What?"
And we knew something. I mean, the show had already revealed to us that Commodore O is uh
Nif-
has ties
the
to Narek
Claude
and
Miller.
Narissa and
I mean,
whatever
sorry, yeah,
the Romulans
the
are
Jat
doing.
Vache. Yeah.
And yeah, we knew about the Jat Vache and them being like a ex, extreme Tal Shiar, even more deadly than the Tal Shiar. So
Another credit to the music, this like creepy violin thing. And what? Oh my god, look at her. She's like, she looks deranged. It's like so terrible.
Allison feels really good at like looking sad
Hmm.
and looking like unwell.
By the way, she would have the ability, even though she just says deactivate. People were wondering, including myself, why like, how come no one found out about this? Like no logs and stuff like that. She does have the computer
She is
expertise.
literally Earth's
Yeah,
leading scientist on artificial intelligence.
so
I
she
think
has the
she's got that
expertise.
covered.
Yeah, to go and wipe that out. You can safely assume that. Arthur says more Elnor next season. Yes, I
Well,
agree.
I wouldn't. I
And
mean, I
more
would love to
Rios.
see it, but I don't think we will.
Yeah, it looks like something's happening in the according to the trailers. And he's dead. That's two legacy characters in one episode.
But there's still one more to die this season.
That's so gruesome. Look at that.
Yeah, this
His
whole episode. This
veins.
might be one of the most gruesome episodes in all of Star. It's like the
In
scene
all of
of
Star
the
Trek, yeah, it's true.
of Scotty's nephew of Preston
That was
dying in
pretty
the Wrath of
gruesome, yeah.
Khan. It's like this whole episode is just that.
Yep, it sure is. But we get a lot of cool stuff. This was
Yes,
fun.
big build up to next week's episode. Picard now has a destination. He knows how to find the sister he's after. He knows that he has to go to the artifact to get Soji, and then next week, the Impossible Box. We get the final crossing of the paths of Soji's story and Picard's story. So something for us to look forward to next week.
Jill's
It's just gonna be
asking,
one episode.
yeah, it'll be one episode next week, and then we'll double up again after that.
Yeah, I think the next 2 weeks after that we're gonna do double headers. So
Yeah.
just one for next week though.
Thanks for asking, Jill. Um, Fatheree, what do you think? What do you hope, I should say, carries over from season one into season two as far as a storyline or like a feature?
Um, I think I said earlier like I want to see more Rios. So
But like as far as his story, or what I mean specifically is like, do you want to see Girardi dealing with, her actions? Do you want to see,
I
uh,
don't want to hang on it too much, but yeah, maybe
yeah,
like acknowledge it. Just like
acknowledge it?
she's I don't know, she's like going through therapy to try to like make sure she's like deprogrammed from the mind meld or something. But I don't want to. I'm kind of used to Star Trek as like you. It's not just like one long ongoing story. It's more of like a series of stories. So
Hmm.
kind of I guess like my expectation is that season two will just be more of its own thing.
Yeah, I think that's widely it's going to be that. Do you think that we will see something that they're dropped a little bit of in this episode, and then also, at the end of the series? But I think we'll definitely see Rafi and Seven flush out their relationship more. So I think that's going to
Yeah,
be a
well, we
carryover
haven't
from
gotten to that
something.
yet though. That's
Yeah, we
like
haven't gotten that.
we'll
So
we'll talk
yeah,
about that. We'll talk about that when we do the watch along for the finale, I guess.
for the finale. Yeah. All right. Cool. Anything you want to promote, by the way, or tell the audience about before we sign off?
Just that you can always find my thoughts and other people's thoughts on all new episodes of Star Trek. Every Friday night, we do a live YouTube stream of the Tex-Trek podcast, in which we take a very deep, detailed look at the newest episodes of Star Trek, and then you can listen to that as a podcast, either late Sunday night or early Monday morning. And when there's no new Star Trek, we're talking about old Star Trek, so we try to take a deep look at all of it. And I am also often on the main Starfleet Boys show on Saturdays talking about TOS.
That's right. And on Starfleet Boy here. So we're doing the Sunday series. Hey, well, we'll talk about it offline, but I think we'll at some point have to do a watch along commentary for season 2. I don't know if we'll do it when it's fresh, because we have so much to do with our discussions and things like that. So we'll get back to it at some point. But real quick, Arthur is saying, I'm dreading that something bad is going to happen. It's coming Eleanor's way. Yeah, me too. And Ulysses saying, I think it was a nice touch that Deanna and Will named their daughter Kestra, and naming Thad after Will's relative from the Civil War. We'll get to that
in 2 weeks when we get to
in
Nepenthe.
2 weeks. Yeah. What the next episode is?
The Impossible Box.
The Impossible Box, where Soji's storyline is going to come to a head. There's going to be a change in her storyline, which will be really interesting. So thanks so much for joining us. I hope you guys have time to join us next week. It'll be at 2 p.m. Eastern time, 1 p.m. Central, and then you can do the math from there for your respective time zones. But we really appreciate you, audience. It's always much more fun. We love to do this. We can talk about Star Trek, at the drop of a hat, to quote a Star Trek line. But it's always so much more fun to have
at the drop of
from
any
you.
hat.
Of any hat, yeah. So, but it's Rios's feathered hat from this episode, in fact. But it's always so much fun to have you guys in the audience, so we really appreciate it.
Or Picard's white hat from Absolute Candor.
Yes, exactly. I actually have a hat like that, I think.
The
somewhere.
2 episodes we watched today had 2 great hats.
It's true. All right, live long and prosper, and we'll see you